You're right. I'm currently editing the second video interview with Mog Morgan, and I just want to say something to you about the internet that's just really important. It's about life before social media. Doing these interviews, it's a lot of research, but it's also a pleasure because, I love these subjects so much. And it might be cool to wander into some sort of left field, chuck in a few wild cards at some point, but I'm not overly keen to do it too often. At the moment, I'm saying once every couple of months I'll chuck one up, because you can chuck out so much content in order to gain views and likes and all this kind of stuff, and that is important from a certain point of view, but it can get out of balance. I'm kind of a fan of YouTube. I listen to podcasts most of the day, and most of what's left I'll be listening to some metal, usually for free on an ad blocker linked to YouTube. And so I do spend a lot of time online, but audibly, as I'm working. And these pings of, since I needed to be on Facebook, since I joined the group that I belong to that concerns the subjects that I'm into. So there's a wonderful community, and every now and then there's something you need to know, or there's a question you need to ask. There's information that you want to see that is very enriching. So just being distracted here by one of my customers. Hi, Sylvia. Where was I? There's stuff that enriches your life, and most of it doesn't. And I started to realize how quickly it came over me, because I'd heard people discussing the problems with, attention span and all that kind of thing. And I kind of thought I was immune. I like reading, I like meditating, obviously, right? I kind of thought that I was immune until I started to wonder, why am I feeling, I don't know, the right word would be artificialized and tired, and it's almost like a malnourishment of the mind, but subtly on the edge, because you're engaging in things, your work, your practice that are strengthening your mind and your will and your attention span, whilst at the same time you've got something that's leeching off of it. So almost like a larvae, or lava, whatever, of the internet, this demonic force that is this vampire, sucking your attention, draining your energy. And so I'd be working, I'd hear a ping go off, and I'd think, oh, maybe it's something that I need to know. And after a couple of years, I started realizing more and more that it almost entirely wasn't. And then you'd do a bit of scrolling or something, because there'd be something with a picture of something that you're interested in, and usually some silly meme misspelt against a picture of some, comic book god or something ridiculous. And then you get sucked into something. Oh, it looks like a great art project that person's doing. And, we've all done it. We know what this is, right? And I thought, well, YouTube, I use YouTube mostly. So that's kind of sensible, because I'm going after the sensible content, right? And then they started introducing these shorts videos. So, you'd go on there to find, a podcast. I don't know, maybe I'm looking for, what's the first thing? Glitch Bottle or something like that. And there'd be a short video come up. Some trivia about James Hetfield or something. Oh, yeah, I wonder what that's all. Oh. And then there'd be another, and then there'd be another. I did look at TikTok. I did install TikTok briefly, and if this is what young people are doing, sitting, going from just filling their minds with this bullshit constantly and constantly being on demand and getting used to quick hits of your interest. Oh, and then, you know, some kind of gratification, which could more properly be described as an excited disappointment or a kind of bland, like overeating or something, you know, obviously something I know something about, right? It's, you're taking it in, but it's not required. So it kind of slows you down, right? And I will say, as someone who meditates, you know, obviously twice a day, every day, in as concerns the practice of stilling the mind, the vacancy exercise, you can feel a kind of tincture, a kind of humming around the edges, the odd stab here and there of personal issues, problems, things that make you upset. And what you've just been talking about, what you've just been doing, the vibe, where you're sitting, and these do tend to die down and die down more quickly as one, you know, practices. Those strange voices, those conversations that you can hear, the inner dialogue over time begins to lessen. But there was something there, something, I don't know. Imagine if the collective unconscious was invaded, not by AI, because artificial intelligence can never be sentient unless you literally tap into the, you know, perhaps the fundamental physical, I mean physics when I say physical, the subject of physics. If you could harness consciousness and the life force and put that within something, which I don't believe is possible anyway, but if you could, in such a way, it would, I've talked about this before, it would emulate some kind of the idea of the golem, yeah, but that's going a bit far. So generally speaking, it's not going to happen. It's not possible. But what if there's a ghost in the collective unconscious, something like an egregore created by all of this triviality, this discontent, this overindulgence, it's like you know, you hear these stories about I don't know, is it giving a monkey some salt to lick or something, and then you can follow it to find water. It's like the monkey mind. It's like it doesn't want to stop, because life's difficult. You work hard, you know, you finish work and nothing better than sitting down, nice cup of tea, just find, oh, so-and-so's uploaded a new interview, oh, I'll watch that, and, you know, get comfy, and the time goes by too quickly. So you enter your practice. Sometimes you have to force yourself a little bit, even though it's like, I know, you know, it's like when you're in, it's like, why did I resist? On the way out, it's why did I even resist? This does happen sometimes. It's very peculiar, because you have to fight this, you have to maintain this, right? But what if there is this egregore being built up that's difficult to disengage from, which is the shadow of the activity produced by algorithms and artificial intelligence? I just think that's horrifying. And to conclude this video, I don't do very many of the chatty videos anymore, but I will do one from time to time. So to conclude, I decided, right, unless I need to go into the group, and I will check my groups periodically to see if there's anything that I need to know, I'm going to ignore all notifications from Facebook. And only on Sunday mornings will I give it my time. and it stopped pinging after a while, So you get a ping, it's usually something from Messenger, something that you need to see, someone, a friend messaging you or whatever. But it stopped ringing, but it didn't stop ringing straight away. It kind of had its death throes. It tries to hook you in, as I found out on the Sunday when I checked. It was really interesting because the first week that I'm on week 3 now, but the first week that I did it, the first Sunday after a whole week without any of this rubbish, it took me 10 minutes to go through everything that I need to see, and a quick look through of my friends done anything that I need to support them on or whatever. Yeah, about 20 minutes. And the next Sunday, it literally took 5 or 10. Just sat there, oh God. I remember life before all of this, and it won't be long. It will come around quickly before, us soon to be oldies, the people that remember life before the internet. It won't be long before we're all gone, and it's a strange almost triviality as well when you think about it. But we've got something to offer. We've got something to say about this, what it was like without this. We can remember, right? We didn't grow up with it. I saw a video on YouTube of a guy who played all of the drums perfectly on Metallica's, talking of Metallica again. I don't like anything after maybe Reload's all right, kind of, couple of songs apart from that after the Black Album. Well, I said No Leaf Clover's pretty, most of it, I don't like it anyway. But as you get older, you do appreciate that they couldn't stay young forever. This is a problem. And anyway, another subject. Where was I again? Oh yeah, the Metallica song. Considering that you can't use your feet, so it's all on just 2 thumbs, the guy was doing the kick drum, the hi-hat, the snare, all of the fills, all of the cymbal crashes, and he got it down with just a few minor, a bit of wobbling on the, the timing, which is so forgivable, just something that a musician would notice. He got the whole thing down perfectly, and I was just, wow, that's amazing. That really is amazing. And then I realized, like, he's doing it with his thumbs. If he's a younger guy, then he would have grown up, and that would have been part of his coming into consciousness, and all those hours spent being able to just, because obviously the keyboards are very difficult on the phone. The letters, the spaces that you have to hit are very small, so sometimes you can hit the wrong letter. And I know that, considering that I've written 14,500 words on my phone, so I know all about it. And yes, my finger still hurts. Anyway, so that was ingrained in him, like almost like a skill in a way. And so obviously it's not. Nothing's ever entirely, well, most things are, not entirely one thing or another. There's, lots of leeway here and there. But you see, when you read, it's a bit like meditation, because you have devoted yourself to one subject, which is the book. And the mind wants to pull away, doesn't it? Like, you're reading the words. Sometimes there's a chapter that's not as interesting as the others, and you feel yourself drifting, but you force yourself to stay on track. And there's no, well, unless someone interrupts, there's no distractions from that one participatory, process, that interaction. And I realize now, how much peace that used to bring me. I realized that the time that I've spent in meditation, there is a similarity on exit to the feeling that I used to get when I used to read more. I might read 3 or 4 hours in the evening sometimes, sometimes a whole day. I do a 12-hour shift, an old job. And apart from having to deal with the odd, situation, I would sit behind a desk. This was only 2 days a week, working as a shopping mall security guard. We did 2 days a week in the office block. So that was almost like a 12-hour shift of pure reading. Didn't have a smartphone. I used to come out of it, my brain felt so, it was like an adrenaline, like the same feeling you get when you go for a run, same feeling similar to coming out of meditation, just a comfortableness and a joy and an enhanced functionality, right? It's very difficult keeping up your practice and maintaining that amount of reading, but this is what I'm coming to. The reason why I'm only going to check my notifications on Sunday for Facebook or anything like Facebook is in order to increase the time of my reading to come somewhere close to the old days. But with the meditation practice, I'm not sure if I'll ever be able to equal that amount again, but that's fine. So what I found is that even just after a couple of days, I felt better. And I'm not excessively on this. I'm not, it wasn't an excessive thing compared to some people, I guess. A week went by, just felt like just like someone's just swept my head out, and most importantly, like I could feel the difference in my meditation. It wasn't like quite like that so much. It was more just the odd, not this kind of. And the overall, there's always a kind of background. Well, mostly speaking, there's kind of a background sensation, a vibe, which I think that all of this triviality, this internet-based, this notification-based, this doom scrolling kind of activity, it really affects your practice in more ways than you can imagine. But you won't really know that unless you've either been born like me, but experienced many years before all this, or you just give it up. And like I say, that similarity between meditating and reading, and that freshness, and being really sensitive to any subtle intrusion on that clarity. I honestly think that it's one of the best decisions I've ever made, and I'm going to stick to it. So I think that's worth, even though it's something, it's not a new issue to raise, is it? But I just want to bring that into context rather. I want to bring this content into context with meditative practice. You do not want to be a slave to the algorithm. Even if you think, I've got this, I'm okay, it might be doing you more damage than you think. You might think that it's just a little bit. It might be worse than you think, but you won't know until you've had some time away. Right, the next upload will be part 2, the concluding episode of the of Mog Morgan and the whole Egyptian magic thing, which was really awesome and left my brain with that same feeling of being exercised. But unfortunately, the amount of time that it takes to edit these things, it can have that same effect. So be good.